Hello guys, this is me, Insane, and today, as the topic says, I'm going to give 24 reasons which proves that Chris Benoit was innocent, and this is presented by IGN.com. The link is given in the description down below. You can check out their website. They have actually posted this like 2 years ago, and this always bugs me. So today, I'm going to discuss this with you, and I need your opinion. So if you agree with me, make sure to comment down below. And what do you think? Was he innocent or was he not innocent? So let's get straight. So the first reason given by IGN says that Chavo Guerrero, who was a close friend of Chris Benoit, told the WWE magazine that he had called Chris on a Friday night on his house phone. About 45 minutes of conversation between both of the guys. Chris told him that there was someone knocking at the door, and he went to see who he was. Shortly after Chris answered the door, there was a scuffle, and then the house phone was dead. The house phone line went dead. Chris could only be reached on his cell phone about 3 hours later, and this point is very significant as this explains why there was no forced entry. Chris let the killer or killers in, according to this website. See, I don't know if Chavo Guerrero is lying or not. I mean, we never know. I mean, he sure was his best friend, but you never know. It might be true, it might be not. But if it was true, I don't really know. If there was a scuffle, I had to say that there might be a chance that Chavo Guerrero might be right and someone actually killed his family, which, according to me, might be Kevin Sullivan. But I don't really think he would do that, even if Chris Benoit married his wife. That was due to a storyline, I guess. Never mind, let's head to the second point. According to this website, it says that after Chavo reached Chris on his cell phone, he said that Chris sounded very odd, groggy, and tired. He also said that Chris replied to him that I love you, Chavo, which also sounded real forced. And WWE also said that Chris called in and told them that Nancy and Daniel were sick. He did not sound like himself. He sounded like groggy. Chris then said I love you, which they say was out of the context because he usually didn't say this. This might be true, of course. I mean, if WWE actually said that, this actually sounds pretty odd. So, yeah. After reading these points, I do think that this might be true. So the other, moving on to the third point, it says that Chris Benoit's cell phone was missing. The police cannot find his cell phone or the needles. They say Chris used to inject himself with steroids shortly after his death. The police have turned his cell phone off. Okay, so this is pretty strange and a significant point. Chris Benoit's cell phone was missing, and the report says that police have had turned his cell phone off. And if his phone was damn missing, there's a chance. I mean, let's move on to the next point. I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. So the next point says that Chris was not hanging from the weight machine. He was laying on the floor underneath the machine. Another officer said that Chris Benoit was slumped against the weight machine. Okay, so this is strange. We all know that he committed suicide after killing his family, according to the reports. Now, this says that he was not hanging on the weight machine, but instead he was laying underneath the machine, which sounds pretty strange. I mean, this is so fucked up. Shit, I used that. Never mind. This is really fucked up. I mean, He was not hanging in the weight machine, but instead he was laying in the underneath the machine. And one of the officers says that he was slumped against the weight machine. Duh. There was a white cloth wrapped around Chris' neck. If he was so suicidal, why would he care if his neck was bruised? See, this point makes actually sense. There was a cloth wrapped around Chris' neck. If there was a cloth wrapped around his neck, this might be true. I mean, he would have tried to protect himself. If he had to suicide, why would he even do that? That doesn't even make sense. But white cloth. This is the best point as of now. I mean, it does make sense if you think about it. So the sixth point says that medical examiner says that Chris Benoit died on Saturday. The text messages were sent on Sunday. Chris was already dead, so who sent the text messages? It is noted that nobody talked to Chris on Sunday. See, this is strange and pretty paranormal if you think about it. The examiner says that Chris Benoit died on Saturday, but text messages were sent from his mobile on Sunday. Isn't it strange? I mean, can a dead person send messages? And the report says that he never talked to anyone on Sunday, but still the messages were sent. How the fuck is this possible? And yeah, I'm going to cuss a lot on this video, so don't mind. How is this possible? Text messages were sent on Sunday, but he died on Saturday. And the report says that nobody talked to Chris on Sunday. We all know that Chavo did on Saturday, but no one did on Sunday. This doesn't make sense. The steroids found in Benoit's house were not in his body. And then the report says that he actually took them, but when there were not even one single steroid found in his body. Can you imagine that? No steroids were in his body, and this is getting pretty strange, to be honest. If there was no steroids in his body, then why does the report says that? And it even says that steroids were found in his house, which is pretty strange. I mean, why would he have them if he never wanted to use them? There's a possibility that someone else actually had the steroids and he actually killed his family and Chris, and then have had steroids lay here and there. So when the officers come, they can indicate that Chris took steroids and other stuff. So that's that. So that actually makes sense and proves that Chris was innocent. So the next point is that if Benoit had murdered his family, then why would he need to text people? Think about it. Everybody was dead. Nobody would hear him talking, so why text? Calling would have been easier. Okay, so this is a good point. I believe the killer texted Benoit's address to someone to come at his house to find the bodies. Most probably. If everyone was dead, why wouldn't he call someone other than messaging? Actually, this actually makes sense. If I was in this situation, I would rather call than messaging. I mean, who checks his messages nowadays? It's all about calling. Even if you have social networking sites, most of the time you pay notice to the one you are talking to. Even if you're not face to face, actually you can hear their voice. And if there was a killer out in this thing, I absolutely agree with this website that can be the killer who actually texted them, so someone can come over their house and find those bodies. and Chris sent Chavo a text message telling his address. So the point is, why would he do that? Chavo already know where he lives. I mean, he spent a previous weekend with him, the previous weekend with him, according to this website and according of the reports, which is this is really getting fucked up. Chris actually sent a text message sending him his address. Uh, this might be true that this was a killer and was Chavo behind this? Nah, I have to say that the killer actually sent him in. He might would have actually sent him thinking that he would come as he's his best friend, but yeah, that makes sense. He sent him the message so he can come around and find out that he died. Of course. Why would he tie up Nancy to kill her? He was a big guy. He could have just hit her one good time and she would have been out. And Nancy was a wrestler and a manager too. So you just can't say that. But tying up Nancy to kill her. Okay, I don't agree with this point. I mean, you don't really have to punch us to something. I just don't really know about this bullshit. I don't agree with this point, okay? So let's move on. Ray also told me that the world press is actually reporting the manner of death wrong. He says that Daniel was shot in his head and Nancy was shot in her chest. Oh, so this makes sense. And this is actually getting real bad. I mean, first they said that Nancy was hanged, and then they said that she was shot in her chest. Same goes with Chris. So yeah, there might be a killer. Who knows? Chris said that the Benoit seemed worried when he called him. I mean, yeah, about something he could not get Chris to open up and tell him why he was worried. So Chavo basically didn't get Chris Benoit. I mean, Chris Benoit seemed a little odd, but he didn't get him, and he didn't get him confess of something that why was he worried. So okay, so that's okay. I mean, that's a good point. There was no Bible besides Chris' body. Why would he place a Bible beside Nancy and Daniel and not place one beside his own if he knew he was about to take his own life? Oh boy. Oof. This actually makes sense. I mean, according to me, he might would have actually thought of killing himself, but went on to kill Nancy and Daniel too, as they would have requested to come over with them and they cannot live without him. So yeah, or it could have been that a killer actually decided to kill Nancy and Daniel. It could have been Kevin. I mean, you don't know exactly, so it could have been Kevin who actually killed them, but since he actually loved Nancy, so he decided to put a Bible beside her and Daniel, of course. So yeah, they both were there with the Bible, but not Chris. That's just my theory. So let's move on. There was 10 empty beer cans and an empty body of mine besides Chris' body. He tested negative for alcohol. So this says that Chris actually had no alcohol, just like it said that there were no steroids, but there were many bottles found. So now this makes sense. There can be some mad guy who just came around drinking and actually killed them. Because this actually makes sense that someone actually was behind this, and this is actually getting in my mind. That's why I'm talking like this. And then the 16 point of this website says that, and the report says that the toxicology confirmed that Chris had hydrocodone, which is a painkiller, Canex, anti-anxiety drug. I have used both of these. Okay, so the reporters used both of these. I mean, I don't take any drugs or steroids. I'm just a young boy and I'm a straight edge. These two drugs combined will sedate Chris and make him very sleepy so he could not fight back. So this makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, if he took a painkiller and Xanax, if they both are mixed up, it will make Chris sleepy, and that might be the reason. I mean, the one who was behind this kill would have actually made him sleepy and then would have killed him along with his family, or something, which have had him hanging above and others dead. Yeah, that makes sense. And then 17 says that the police originally said that Daniel died on Friday because his body was badly decomposing. This supports my belief that all three died on Friday night, but didn't. Okay, I gotta check this. Wait a minute. Hola, hola. Okay, so Chavo talked to them on Friday, so that makes sense. I actually messed up thinking that it was Saturday. So they said that Chris Benoit's body was decomposing very badly, and they police changed the manner of Daniel's death 3 times. First, he died from a garbage bag. He died from a chokehold, and he was smothered by a pillow. Why would they keep changing? That actually makes sense. Why would they do that? I mean, this can be that they had trouble finding what was actually behind this, or they could have had been involved with someone else. It can be with. I can say that these two would have been involved in this. These two are the reasons why. So the 18 point says that the police kept changing the location of Nancy's body. Actually, where Nancy's body was. First, she was found downstairs, then she was found upstairs, and then she was found in the house office. So yeah, this might be that police was involved or something. I mean, they might be confused. You can't really say that he was innocent because of this. So I don't have actually words for these 2 points. So I'm just gonna move on. Chris' father said that Chris called him on Father's Day and told him that he wished he could spend more time with his family, but he had to work. One of Nancy's friends says that Nancy loved Chris and she had no plans to leave him. Okay, so this makes me think that Chris actually wanted to suicide, but Nancy and his son didn't want him to go, and they loved him, Chris Benoit, dearly, so they decided to kill themselves too while he was gone. So actually this doesn't support that Chris was innocent, but I don't really know what to say. I mean, depression is bad, and actually some report says that he was 84 years old in his mind and had hit his head so many times that that's why they don't really use those moves nowadays. And actually this left an impact in wrestling, as they had now health checkup and other stuff. People get suspended like admirals and other stuff, which is actually a good thing. They should have done this long way ago. So yeah, so the next report says that Bam Bam Bigelow, a retired wrestler, died on 19th January 2007. Sherry Martel died on 15th 6 2007, which is which month? Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. Okay, so Bam died on January. She died on June, which is actually, of course, it's June right now. Benoit died in June as well on 22nd. Since the family died, 2 other wrestlers had died: Brian Adams and Johnny Crush in July and August. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Brian Pillman all died the night before they were set to win the title belts. Sherry Martels died dying is actually more suspicious. She had ties to Nancy's ex-husband, Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan, I don't really know how to spell that. Say, and say the word, so that's that. The circumstances says that that surrounding her deaths have not been released. I mean, there were no reports about this, and all of these wrestlers died before they were said to win a big, big, big title. Now, this is really strange. And Sherry Martel had actually ties with Kevin Sullivan, who was the ex-husband of Nancy Benoit. And the other people were set to win the titles, like Eddie Guerrero and other guys, and even Chris Benoit had a match, which was most probably against CM Punk. I don't really know. So yeah, then the 21st point says we are closing into the end. Kevin Sullivan told Chris Benoit that he would kill him. So now this is getting suspicious. Kevin is currently a high-ranking member of Satanic Cult. Kevin is also on the WWE board of directors. He might not be now because this report was of 2014, so I don't really know. Kevin Sullivan also had motive to kill Daniel Benoit because he was Chris and Nancy's offspring. Retired wrestler Dusty Rhodes, his website actually spelled Rhodes, said that he danced with the devil when he was working with Kevin Sullivan, who is known as cold-hearted and conniving. The Benoit family was murdered on the 10th year anniversary of Nancy's divorce from Kevin Sullivan. So now you know this is getting strange, and I actually mentioned this like 4 to 5 minutes ago. So yeah, this might be Kevin Sullivan all along, but why would he kill someone who was in love with him? That's Sherry Martel, so that's strange. But yeah, Kevin is, yeah, he's a high-ranking member of Satanic Cult. If you don't know that, he actually had a gimmick related to this, which was actually scary. But yeah, and even Nancy was involved in this gimmick stuff. But later on, after a storyline with Chris Benoit getting affair with him, in he married her. Chris Benoit married her, and then they were happy until of this, and they actually died on the 10th anniversary of the divorce with Kevin Sullivan. So yeah, this might be the main reason. And now this is the most important point. Moving on to 22nd, Nancy Benoit death was posted. I read that wrong. Posted on the internet 14 hours before her body was found. This was found and this was posted like 14 hours ago. So there's a chance that the killer actually did this, or someone else who was actually watching her being killed. There can be two reasons. But if her body was not found and there were no reports of her being dead, this can be that Kevin actually did this, since it's just Nancy. So this might be Kevin all along. Weeks before he died, Chris Benoit's colleagues, actually the members who was working with him, said that Chris began taking alternate routes to and from work and back to his house. Chris and Nancy believed that somebody was following them. Chris' friends dismissed his worries as paranoia. If I said that right, I mean, my accent is not that good. So this means that someone was actually following him. This can be Kevin or someone else. This is making sense. And now let's move on to the last point. Benoit family was murdered on the same week that we all know this, that same day while the whole story of who killed Vince McMahon was going on. So this makes it even more strange. I mean, he was actually dead, and this is actually a conspiracy, and this is Jew said this that Jew said is guilty as fuck according to this. So yeah, that's that. And my reaction, he might be innocent, you never know. So yeah, should say thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to see more of these type of videos, and I will see you next time.